Whenever someone wants to accomplish something, I believe there is a set of habits or things that are very consistent in most people that holds them back. And I'm going to break those down for you guys just so you can understand. Obviously, from my perspective, I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there are different ones and things like that. But these are the common habits that I believe really holds people back from accomplishing something big. The first one is overthinking. I think people overthink a lot because it's almost like society rewards it. Because it's like, oh, you think this through, you thought this through. When you get around the right people, or at least what I would consider the right people who are successful in the things that they've done and accomplished, is they don't really overthink. They take action, right? Because while someone is overthinking and thinking like, everything that might go through here and what is it going to look like if it doesn't go through, and what it, like, at least for me, is I just take action. So what? I got it wrong. Now I know one way that doesn't work. Then I try another way again. But what you're not doing when you're overthinking is taking action, right? I think you really learn about this concept in a book called The Magic of Thinking Big. It breaks that down. The antidote to overthinking is action. Just take action. It's uncomfortable, it's weird, but so is overthinking anyway. So you might as well just take action. At least you figure out if it was going to work or not, right? So I think that holds people back a lot. We do sales here, and some people come in, we don't really hire based on experience because we really trust our ability to train people. So people come in, and one of the things that really holds them back is not even how scary sales is like they hold themselves back because they're overthinking. What if they say no? Okay, so what? What if they say no? Then you learn what to say when they do say no. But what if they don't like me? So what? What if they don't like you? Then you learn what to do or what to say if they don't like you, right? So like most of the stuff that we think in our head is just not real. And there's not as crazy of an outcome that comes from there anyway. So we're just overthinking. And that's a big part. The next one is inconsistency. When I'm talking about inconsistency, it's not being inconsistent as far as the work that you're doing. I think you have to go through your fair share of inconsistency when it comes to that in order for you to become more consistent at that work. But I'm talking about inconsistency in like you as a person, not showing up consistently or not giving your best self. Or if you know that you need to do something early, you don't wake up at the same time. You don't create enough consistency in your habits as a person, and that shows up in your results when it comes to work. So what I would suggest is if you want to accomplish something, first understand all of your areas of inconsistency and start working on those, because the more consistent you become with your habits and standards, the more consistent you're going to become with the work that you're doing. And I think people try to do it the other way. They try to get really consistent with their work and then try to fix their personal habits after. It just doesn't work. Right? I have to be a consistent person in order for me to produce consistent result. So then it's not that you're inconsistent in everything. So I think the wiser thing to do is figure out the points in your life that you're the most inconsistent at and set up things around there that's going to force you to be more consistent. That way you can do it, right? Like, for example, I tell people who are like, they say they want to become more avid gym goers, right? I think if you're not consistent, one of the reasons you're not consistent at going to the gym is probably because you don't prepare the night before. But if you put your water out, you put your clothes out, you put, everything out, and everything's all set up, your meal prep or whatever it is, like you will feel really weird not doing that. Or maybe you have an accountability partner that you know is more consistent, so they're going to meet you there anyway. Now you feel obligated to go. Right? So it's not that you just became more consistent, you just set things up that's going to force you to become more consistent. I think inconsistency is one of the main things that really hold people back, but quietly, right? Because they don't really see it coming. It's just like, it sneaks up on them like, why am I not accomplishing this? But one of those reasons is because of that. The next one is so prevalent in most people, and I run several leadership meetings or sales meetings and stuff like that on it. I mean, it's just avoiding discomfort, which makes sense because once again, our ultimate desires as people, even your brain, like the way it's wired is weird. It wants to go back to homeostasis. That means it wants to do the same thing that it does every day. So you have to fight against that ability to become discomfort, because everyone, if I said, where does growth lie? Everyone would say outside of your comfort zone. So everyone knows that. So then it's not a matter of like people knowing. I think it's about doing. It's about setting up things, 1, 2, 3 things, or it gets you uncomfortable every single time. Funny story, before I started this social media thing, I've been talking about it for like maybe 3-4 years now. Like, you know what? I think we do a poor job of, marketing or exposing our brand out there. Maybe we should do it better. And I just kept prolonging it because I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to do that. But when are you going to be ready? And I was reading something the other day where it talks about being ready is not a feeling. I think most people wait to feel ready. And it says being ready is a decision, right? You just decide, I'm going to do it. Ready or not, here I come type of deal, right? So I think that's important for most people to understand that you can't avoid that feeling of discomfort. That's actually what you should be seeking, because that's how you grow. Imagine you were going to the gym and you work out and that soreness that you feel, that's what tells you that you worked out really hard. Now you know that muscle is going to get developed in whatever way you worked it out to get developed. So it's important to remember that you almost got to like chase the discomfort in a way. I know it's a weird concept because your body wants you to do everything to stay comfortable, but mentally you have to do everything to become uncomfortable, because that's exactly how you're going to grow. Cool. And then the next point, and this happens a lot because that's natural human instinct once again, is blaming circumstances. We see this all the time, right? If you are like a fan of a team, and this is funny because I'm a huge fan of a couple teams, it's like when your team lost, when you're talking about it, you're like, yeah, man, they lost. Can you believe they lost? But if your team wins, you say, we won, right? So it's really easy for us to associate ourselves with wins, but then disassociate ourselves from losses. So it's really easy for you to blame anything other than yourself. And there's this one phrase, I don't know where I heard it, but it kind of tattooed on my brain in a way where it says, if it is to be, it is up to me. And what that says is everything that happens that goes right is my fault. Just like everything that happens that doesn't go right is also my fault. Is it 100% true? Maybe, maybe not. But it's not even about whether or not that statement is true. I think it's the power that it holds. Because if I consistently believe that things are my fault, what happens is I am consistently telling myself that I can fix it instead of I have to wait for someone to fix it, right? It's like people who live their lives blaming, I don't know, the weather, the government. The government didn't do this for us. Like you spend your entire life blaming a bunch of things and people that you can't control, so you feel out of control with your own life, and that's why you're almost like a charity case, because you're waiting for someone to come and save you. And it's such a terrible way for people to live. So blaming circumstances are definitely one of the things that holds people back. And we do sales, and I can't tell you how many times people blame the business that we go to, or blame the particular customer that they spoke to, or blame the weather, so to speak, or blame the fact that, maybe their girlfriend or boyfriend weren't so excited when they left this morning. Like, you blame so many things, but realistically, the thing that you should be blaming, I would say, is yourself. If it is to be, it is up to me. Yeah, did that person cut me off in traffic? Yeah, of course they did. But my reaction to that is on me. You can laugh if someone cuts you off in traffic. There's no rules against that. Just like you can be angry if someone cuts you off in traffic. So technically, if it is to be, it's not really that technical. If it is to be, it is up to me, because I chose my reaction in everything. If it's raining and I'm out in the rain, I can choose to be more prepared so I'm less affected by the rain, or I can choose to complain about the fact that it's raining, right? If it's sunny, I can do some things to better prepare myself for the sun, or I can just complain about the fact that it's too hot, or whatever it is, right? So if it is to be, it is up to me. And I think if you really own that phrase, at least as far as having a positive mindset, you almost become unstoppable, because you think about things like, hey, what can I do about it? If I can do something about it, great. I'll do that right now. If I can't do anything about it, I should probably change my mindset towards it, because it's not going to do anything other than make me feel powerless, and that's not the position that I want to be in, because that's not a position where that you become very productive in, right? And the last one that really, really holds people back is a lack of urgency. There's so much I can say about that, because there are systems that we've created in our organization, sales systems that literally talk about urgency. I'm going to tie the lack of urgency into one of the ones that I spoke about already, inconsistency, right? Or waiting for the right moment, so to speak, and taking action, so to speak. And I've talked about all these ones already. Most people spend almost their entire life waiting for a perfect moment, right? They're waiting for things to be perfect, for things to align. And I said it earlier, where I say readiness is not a feeling. It's not like, oh, I feel ready. I think people say that, but really when someone says I feel ready, what they've done, if they've decided to be ready, right? You just decide, like, I'm going to do it. Like, I have no choice. I'm going to do it. And you take away all of the other options of not doing it, and that's when you actually feel ready. So what it is you decided to be ready, right? So what happens then is when people are held back, they're waiting, and there's not urgency. There's a phrase that says the greatest threat to success is ease. That means you try to ease your way into everything. Just go 1,000 miles an hour. If you fail, you learn something. You fail trying. So now you know what not to do. And then you try another way, right? But like the whole thing of like trying to make sure I know once again, like I started this off saying is people, we have a society that gratify those things, you know, when it comes to like overthinking and stuff like, oh, you think everything through, that's so great. And you want to make sure you make less mistakes and stuff like that. And unfortunately, all of us got raised or trained essentially to like fear mistakes, which is, I guess, very much an antidote to success, because making mistakes is essentially how you succeed. So if I'm taking things slow and I'm like, you know, I have no urgency to do anything, I'm just waiting for like a perfect moment. I'm like, you know what, let's see if it works for these guys, and if it works for them, then maybe I'll do it as well. If it works for this person, then maybe I'll do it. And what happens is those people, because they're the pioneers essentially of doing that unknown, they get the first fruit, right? Think about the California gold rush. The people that got there first are the people that got the most gold. Everybody else was just going there and like grabbing scraps that were left, right? Which is important, especially for if you're like this person that always wait and you lack urgency. There's a phrase that says, good things come to those who wait, right? And I think that's an incomplete expression. Good things come to those who wait, but only the things left by those who hustle, right? So the people who hustle got there first. And if you were waiting, you get the scraps. The things that they left behind are where you're gonna get. So hopefully that helps you, you know, get out of that mentality of like getting held back from things that you actually want to do. And I know for sure all of these things, you know, apply. I'm not speaking to you from a stance of like, oh, this never happened to me. All of these things happen, but those are the things I'll go about avoiding. That way I don't fall into that point of getting to a point where I don't accomplish anything. I feel like I'm being held back. All right, hopefully that helps, and I'll see you in the next video.